of Morgantown. VOM, Mountaineer Pride, we go all in. First to the facts, last to the spin. It's the voice of Morgantown. Let's begin.
And we welcome you into another edition of The Rush Show, your source for West Virginia Big 12 and college sports news, part of the Voice of Morgantown Network in 10 minutes or less guaranteed. I'm your host, as always, Rush Bishop, and we're going to jump right into this episode. We're about an hour away from kickoff with TCU taking on UNC. Bill Belichick is back as the head coach of UNC, and of course, TCU, a team that was in the national championship just a couple years ago. Sonny Dykes is somewhat on the hot seat, I'll say the warm seat, but TCU definitely needs to have a big season this year for him to be comfortable in his position. So looking forward to that matchup. I'll talk about it here in a little bit as well. What I want to get to today, hope everyone's enjoying their Labor Day, their day off. Hopefully you had one today. I'll tell you something I did not enjoy. Obviously, West Virginia's win was great, but I did not enjoy the Big 12 representation from week 1 in college football. Of course, week 0 was great. The Iowa State, Kansas State game, Farmageddon was fantastic. Big 12 out in Ireland, a classic Big 12 showdown rivalry match. It was a good game throughout, and it really showed what the Big 12 was capable of. Fast forward, of course, to week 1, Thursday night, Cincinnati against Nebraska at Arrowhead Stadium. Awful game. Terrible game. Satterfield, of course, showed what he's capable of, and I don't see him at Cincinnati much longer. Sorsby, the quarterback there, who we thought has potential. Maybe he still does. The transfer from Indiana. Awful mistakes. Into the first half, terrible boneheaded mistake, and of course, an interception to end the game there. There's no excuse for Cincinnati not to win that game. Thursday night as well, UCF struggled against Jacksonville State. They snuck out of that one alive, but Scott Frost's second era in UCF, not off to a great start. Then we go to Friday night, of course, Colorado and Baylor. Colorado, again, just like Cincinnati, a game they should have figured out, should have won there, blew that game as well. And then Baylor doesn't even show up at home against Auburn. Both those games, Colorado and Auburn, were at home. Again, Baylor's nowhere to be found. I think Aranda's seat, as it is just been as of late, ever since they won the Big 12, just keeps getting hotter and hotter. Colorado, they got to show up. They got to show that they can be a team that doesn't rely on Shedeur Sanders or Travis Hunter. I know that Deion's had off-season issues with his health, and that's terrible. That's awful. But to be a successful football team, you need everyone there, especially your head coach, every day showing up, doing what you need to do. So hopefully they can turn it around. I know Deion is great for the Big 12. Colorado being in the Big 12 where they originally belong has been really good for this conference, especially on a national scale, but they're going to have to get it together. You can't lose games to Georgia Tech that way. Going to Saturday now, got, wins for the most part there. The tough game there was Kansas State, of course, against North Dakota. They needed the last drive to win that game. North Dakota probably should have won that game. They dominated that game. They had Kansas State on the ropes. Thankfully, they were able to pull it together at the end there, but was not a great showing. Bringing it kind of to the West Virginia side of things, because this is a West Virginia show, and I think this is very important to remember as we, week 1's in the books. We got week 2, week 3. This is the non-conference time of year. Yeah, we sometimes see some non-conference showdowns happen mid-season. I think last year was like week 6 where we saw UCF play Florida. So we'll get a couple of those, but this first 3 weeks is really where those conference battles take place. Big 12 has to show up. They have to stay relevant. West Virginia has to continue to stay relevant. I'm worried about this Ohio game coming up. And then, of course, we have Pitt after that. And in a future where we can see, I'll say Division I college football, I'll say an NCAA lists college football league, it's going to come down to two conferences like we just see in the NFL. Maybe they won't be called the Big Ten and SEC, similar to how there's the AFC and NFC and NFL football, but they're probably going to be split up. And if you're not relevant, you're not going to be taken. This all comes down to money, just like the stock market, right? No matter how great your history was as a company, your stock is dependent on what can you give stockholders in the future. And West Virginia and other Big 12 teams are going to show that they have to compete in the future. I think West Virginia has the ability to do that. I know that we're on the SEC short list for expansion. I think we were on tier 2 of that list. And, it's going to come down to, can we stay relevant? Can we bring in funding? Can viewership numbers, do they hold steady and continue to increase anytime West Virginia is on TV? And, that I can see a world where the Big 12 is not a conference anymore, or does what the Big East does, becomes a basketball only conference. And don't get me wrong, that kills me. I kind of miss the old college football, the good old days, we'll call them. But folks, I don't know if we're going back to that. I don't know if that exists anymore. We're not. It's not even, I know we're not going back to that. So the Big 12 as a whole, but more specifically, West Virginia has to stay relevant during these times, because this is a one big league, unfortunately. And in the short term, the advantage to that is you could say, screw it with the non-con. I know we play Pitt, and I know there's, a backyard brawl element, and we want to say that we're better than Pitt, which is great. But put that to the side for a second. I mean, you can use the non-con as I guess a preseason, season to figure things out. Go in, figure it out. Go to the Big 12, win your conference, and then go to the college football playoff, and then figure things out from there. We saw Oklahoma State do that 2 years ago, where they had a 3-quarterback system for the first 3 games. But the long-term aspect of that is, the Big 12 is going to be considered a weak conference. So instead of potentially merging with another conference, or the Big 12 being taken as a whole, these other conferences could come through and nitpick us, right? And week 1 was not a good showing for the Big 12. I give it a D. And I think a D is being pretty nice. If Kansas State doesn't pull it off, it's a complete fail. So I do think TCU has the opportunity on the national stage. Of course, it being all about Bill Belichick and being at UNC, they can come in and play spoiler. I'm wearing my New England Patriots shirt right here. I am cheering for TCU. I do want Bill, and being the college football fan I want Bill to do well at UNC. I love the storylines there, but we really need TCU to show up this game. We have to. Our conference depends on it. Week 2, we have Iowa State playing Iowa. We have Baylor playing SMU. Oklahoma State versus Oregon. Kansas versus Missouri, and then, of course, West Virginia versus Ohio. And I know Ohio's not as sexy as it normally is, but we got to go to Athens. And that game concerns me. We're only 2.5-point favorites right now. So as bad as we were in week 1, we do have the opportunity to turn it around in week 2. And, of course, week 3, especially with West Virginia playing Pitt. But we do have to turn this around. We have to make the Big 12 a more viable conference. And if we want this to be a 2-big league, we can't be losing these games. I don't care if it's week 1. Cincinnati can't be blowing games to Nebraska. Colorado's got to finish games against Georgia Tech, and Baylor at least can't lay an egg at home against Auburn. They at least got to show up and play. So while I am optimistic in West Virginia's future, and if anything, this goes to show that West Virginia is going to be a viable option in this league, and they'll have the ability to win it even in Rich Rod's first year. I know we played Robert Morris, but hey, they still looked really good, and they got it together in the second half and made the appropriate adjustments. But with all that being said, the league as a whole needs to figure this out and stay relevant. I know Yormark is doing everything he can to think outside the box, but you can only do that so long. Eventually, people are going to figure out if your product's good or not good. So Big 12 on a whole needs to figure it out, and West Virginia needs to stay relevant there. So again, looking forward to the game tonight. Looking forward to West Virginia football ahead. I think, again, there was a spirit there that we haven't seen in 6 years, and I think it's great that Rich Rod's back, and I think we had the ability to do so. So I'll be here all week. Again, thank you for joining the Rush Show, and I'll see you all again real soon. Let's go Mountaineers.